Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to begin in child's pose today. So go ahead and come up onto hands and knees. Bring the toes together, widen the space between the knees, and then sink the heels back and walk the hands forward. You've got a cushion there behind you, so you're more than welcome to place the cushion between the sit bones and the heels or underneath the feet. If you are someone who finds child's pose quite uncomfortable because of any knee or hip issues, you can come onto your back and I can give you a modified version if you prefer. If you're at home and child's pose isn't a comfortable pose for you, and just simply coming onto your back and having the knees nice and wide and drawing them in towards the armpits will do the same type of thing here. So just choosing something that feels nice for you. So our class today is all about alignment of the body and also the mind. And in my experience, you can work effectively with both through the gateway of aligning the body. So I'd like you to bring your awareness inwards and begin to breathe consciously and fully into the back torso. Just notice how the breath travels up and down the back of the torso. And because we're not in an active child's pose at the moment, just allowing the shoulder blades to spread away from the spine and let the elbows be really nice and soft. And let that softness extend down from the elbows through the wrists to the fingers. You can still feel quite a bit of tightness through the upper back area. If you were to flip your palms so that the palms were facing up and let the front of the shoulders draw down towards the floor, then you might feel a little bit more release there. So as we actively begin to relax different parts of the body, we can also begin to feel the mind relax. And if the mind needs a little bit of help, then just simply focusing on the breath, how it feels as it travels through the body. We have 8 more breaths here. Last few breaths. After your next exhale, just turning the palms to face back down towards your mat and slowly coming up onto hands and knees. Go ahead and align your hips over top of your knees and your shoulders over top of your wrists. Have a neutral spine, the back of the neck's nice and long so that the tailbone is in line with the crown of the head. We're coming into cat-cow pose, but we're going to break it down into 3 distinct steps. So the first step is to simply on the inhale, tilt the pelvis up. And then on the exhale, go ahead and tilt the pelvis down, tuck it under. So nothing else is moving in the torso area, just the pelvis. Inhale and exhale as you tilt it under. We'll do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. Come back into a neutral spine. Now we're going to keep the pelvis nice and still, and we're just going to attempt to move from the middle of the spine. This might feel a little bit tricky and the movement is very subtle, but as you inhale, just begin to imagine the belly starting to dip, but the movement's coming from the spine, so the lower and upper back doesn't move. And then exhale, as if you're about to come into cat pose, but not quite. So you might even not be able to see the movement if you were to see yourself moving through. One more round. Inhale, middle spine. And exhale. Come back into a neutral tabletop. This time it's the upper back and the chest. So the lower and middle back stays still. As you inhale, chest lifts, as the gaze does too. As you exhale, chest lowers and you bring your chin towards your chest. So just the upper back. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale. And exhale. Alright, come back to neutral spine and we're going to put all of that together. So back of the neck's nice and long. On your inhale, tilt the pelvis up, feel the middle spine begin to dip down and then lift the chest right at the end. As you exhale, tilt the pelvis under, round through the middle spine, and then bring the chin towards the chest as the upper back rounds. Keep going in your own time, incorporating the breath. Notice how when we are observing and focusing the mind on our alignment, we're giving it a job to do. So it's a little bit more quiet. Finish the round that you're on and do 3 more. Feel free to go as slowly as you need to. So when we perform our cat-cow postures like this, it takes away the pressure of having to press through the arms because we're simply just using the full mobility of the spine. Once you've finished your 3rd round, just coming back into neutral tabletop. Feel free to do a little torso circle move if you like, or shake out the arms. Can be quite a lot of pressure on the arms when we just use the spine. And go ahead and spread the fingers nice and wide. Press down through the first finger and the thumb, and then energetically see if you can draw the thumbs in towards each other. Begin to broaden through the upper back. Tuck the toes, and then take a big inhale, lift the hips up into your downward facing dog. Alright, so let's align the body and see if we can get the mind in alignment as well. So beginning from the hands, making sure that those fingers stay spread nice and wide apart and actively pressing down, especially through that first finger and the thumb. So we want to press down through the knuckles and through the pads of the hands. And we travel up the arms and see if we can just gently release the shoulders away from the ears. We want to rotate the shoulders so that the armpits rotate in towards each other and we broaden through the upper back area. Feel free to pedal the heels if you like. Maybe take a deep bend of the knees, and then as you inhale, send the hips really high. Press your heart down towards your toes, and then reach the heels down towards the floor. At the same time, you want to continue breathing. Press down through your hands, and I'm just going to draw it back. Yes. All right, we have 3 more breaths here. Nice deep full breath in and out. And if you were to play around with straightening the legs, you're pressing from the backs of the thighs. So you're pressing the backs of the thighs towards whatever it is that's behind you. Last breath. Nice deep full breath in and out. And then let's slowly just make our way down onto our knees into child's pose. Take a little breather. And just a reminder here, if child's pose isn't comfortable on your front, come onto your back, bring the knees in towards the chest, and then just have the knees drawing towards the armpits and just hold them lightly. So let the elbows be soft here. Let the breath be even. All right, gently slide onto your belly. We're going to practice our cobra pose. So slide the hands so that they're underneath the shoulders, and if you can, you want to have the fingertips in line with the tops of the shoulders. So you really want to draw the shoulders down the back. Hug the elbows in towards the torso, and then press the tops of the feet into the mat, or press the toenails into the mat can sometimes be a better explanation. Before we go anywhere, I want you to press the tops of the feet into the mat and then lift the kneecaps. Press the thighs down towards the floor and press the pubic bone down as well. So there's your lower half of your body as your anchor, helping you when you come into cobra. Before you actually lift the chest, as you inhale, I want you to engage the muscles of your back. And then slowly begin to lift the chest up as you keep the shoulders drawing down. You don't have to come up very far. And then slowly exhale to release down. So before we lift back up again, we want to tuck the elbows in, we'll draw them in, draw the shoulders down the back, and then take an inhale. Make sure that the lower half of the body is active. And rise up, lift the chest. You might even lift the gaze just a little way. You don't have to crank the neck though. And then slowly exhale it down. So we're going to do 2 more in your own time. Inhale to rise, shoulders down, elbows in. And then slow exhale to lower. Last one in your own time. Keep the lower half of the body active. Use the muscles of your back. Beautiful. All right. Tuck the toes under, send the hips back just for a little puppy pose. Take a breath or 2 here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lift yourself back up into downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, we want to have our hands at least a shoulder width apart and our feet at least a hip width apart. You can go wider if you like, if you feel like you need more room, but just having at least that much space. From our downward facing dog, we're going to look forward, bend the knees, and just tiptoe up to our hands into a forward fold. So the feet are going to be a hip width apart, your knees are going to be bent generously, and the torso is just going to hang in space for a while. Let the arms just be free. The head is heavy. And you may find that you need to have the knees very bent in your forward fold. Or you may find that you could play around with lifting the hips a little higher and then pressing the backs of the thighs towards whatever's behind you and working on pressing your belly down towards your thighs. so that we're effectively trying to fold in half. We don't need to force that. We have 5 more breaths here. If you would like to, you could take ragdoll, so opposite hands to opposite elbows, just if you would like. Or you might even play around with having the arms free and just walking them over to the right and then to the left. This can be quite nice for the side body. And this is a nice pose to linger in and practice your deep breathing into the belly. This is our anti-anxiety poses, anti-stress. All right, gently release the arms. And just bend the knees just a little bit more. Lengthen the tailbone down, firm up the belly, and then just slowly roll up to standing. Once you're there, maybe just roll the shoulders. Beautiful. And stand with the feet a hip width apart. So we're going to move into Tadasana or mountain pose, which is the foundation of all of the standing poses. So when we move on to our warrior 2 and our standing forward fold, we're going to begin from this Tadasana movement. So looking down towards your feet, have your toes pointing forwards, and then lift all the toes up, even the pinky toes. And then from the pinky toe into the big toe, gently fan the toes down. Rock forward, lift the heels, and then place the heels down. Go ahead and firm the thighs, feel the kneecaps lift, and then lengthen the tailbone down, feel the spine get a little longer. You might even feel your chest lift here. Go ahead and lift the shoulders up and then glide them down the back. Palms can be open, facing in front of you. And the belly might be a little bit firm, but it's not activated at this stage. See if you can lengthen the back of the neck. Might even tuck the chin slightly. So this is your Tadasana pose, your mountain pose. As we move into warrior 2, the lower half of our body may change position, but the top half of our body is going to remain in this nice, neutral, long spine. So turn towards the front of the room and then take a nice wide step out sideways. We'll start with the left toes first, so turn the left toes towards the front of the room. The right toes in slightly. That's it. And then just gently bend into the left knee. And see if you can look down at that knee and find a nice long line from the knee down to the ankle. Nice. Now see if from this point you can begin to feel that line from the tips of the shoulders to the hip bone so that the torso is nice and long here. And then on an inhale, add in the arms, bring them up to shoulder height. Exhale as you settle into the pose. So let's incorporate breathing here. Notice how the mind often tires well before the body physically needs to give up. And notice if anything changes if you were to lift and tighten the left glute. Take a nice deep full breath in. Exhale fully. And then straighten up the left leg. Bring the arms down. And then go ahead and just soften the front knee, windmill the arms, and just bring yourself down into child's pose. All right, so let's just take 3 more breaths down here in child's pose. Once you've taken your 3rd exhale, We're slowly making our way back up into downward facing dog, so we can do the other side of our warrior two. And Kirsten, I'll just get you to turn around so that you're facing inwards. So just preparing for your downward facing dog as we were previously. Fingers spread nice and wide, pressing down through the index and the thumb. Seeing if you can energetically draw the thumbs in towards each other. This is going to help activate the arms, the upper back. Firming the shoulder blades against the back. As you press the mat away from you, you're pressing your belly towards your thighs and your heart towards your toes at the same time as lifting the hips up. So we're looking for that upside down V shape. All right, one more nice deep breath in and out here. And then let's walk on up to our hands once again in our forward fold. We'll take one breath in, full exhale out, and then slowly peel yourself back up to standing. Beautiful. All right, this time turn to face where the back door is, or the camera. Take a nice wide step out sideways, and this time we'll turn the right toes towards the short edge of the mat, left toes in slightly. Beautiful. So we want to line up the front heel with the middle back foot. Slowly bend into that front knee. Line up the knee with the ankle so there's a nice straight line. And then see if you can press the outside of the thigh back so that the knee's not knocking inwards. We want to press into the outside of the back foot to activate that back leg. And let's engage the right glute. So we want to lift it up as we engage. Add in the arms when you're ready on an inhale. As you exhale, keep the arms at shoulder height, but see if you can soften through the shoulders. A nice way to further relax the shoulders is to take an inhale, flip the palms so that they're facing upwards. And you can leave the palms facing out, take an exhale. You could either stay here, or you could keep the insides of the elbows facing upwards and then slowly begin to turn the palms to face back down. So you might have a little bend in the elbows. And what this does is just helps to release tension through the shoulders. Another nice thing to do here is to soften the gaze. Beautiful. All right, so keep the lower half of the body where it is. I'm just going to gently pull your torso up. Perfect. And then relax. All right. One more breath here, nice deep full breath in and out. And then just slowly straighten up that front leg. You can relax the arms down. And then just once again soften into the legs so that you can windmill down, come into a downward facing dog and then maybe a little child's pose just to reset everything. And we'll just take 5 breaths in our child's pose. If you'd prefer to stay in your downward facing dog and keep it active, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Do whatever feels good. Let's take about 2 more breaths here. If you are in your child's pose, focusing on breathing into the back of the torso. If you're in your down dog, then you might draw the breath up through the soles of the hands all the way to the point of the tailbone and then down the backs of the legs and out through the heels. If you're in your child's pose, slowly make your way back up into downward facing dog. Take 1 full breath in and out, and then walk your way up to your hands. Take a full cycle of breath. And then slowly roll up to standing. Once you're there, we're in our mountain pose, our Tadasana. So weight is even through the feet. Lift the thighs and the kneecaps, lengthen the tailbone down. Spine grows really nice and long. Shoulders glide down the back as the chest opens. And go ahead and turn back towards me. Take a nice wide step out sideways. And this time we're coming into a wide leg forward fold. So begin with the toes pointing forward, so parallel. So the insides of the feet are parallel to each other. Perfect. Some people like to have the toes pointing inwards a little bit as they come into the wide leg forward fold. Some people prefer to have them parallel. I'll let you decide. You can play around and see what feels best. So we're keeping the top half of the body in our Tadasana, our mountain pose. You have the choice here. You could have the hands on the insides of the hip creases, around the tops of the legs there. If you would like to get an upper body stretch at the same time, you can bring the hands behind you, interlace the fingers, draw the palms and the shoulder blades together. Choose one that feels nice. As you inhale, keep the spine long, lift the chest. As you exhale, you're going to bend from the hip crease, keep the back nice and long, come down to your halfway point, lift the kneecaps. Now you might decide to stay here, or you may take another inhale, lengthen the torso, and as you exhale, fold down a little bit further. And as we do travel down, you can release the hands to the floor, or you might even use your block for a little bit of support, or if you're at home, a book or something that feels good. Let the head hang from the root of the neck, deep in the upper back, between the shoulder blades. Lift the kneecaps. Feel the energy rise up through the soles of the feet, up through the kneecaps and the thighs. And if it's just not possible, or if it doesn't feel good to have the legs straight, have a little bend in the knees, totally fine. If the legs are straight, kneecaps are lifted. So from this point here, and keeping the spine nice and long, you could keep the hands where they are. You could walk the fingertips forward as if you were coming into an extended child's pose, and then let the head rest down between the arms. Or you could even walk the hands back so that the hands are underneath the hips. Have a little play around and see what feels nice here as you align the body. Scan the body. Observe how the breath feels. How it feels in this shape. 3 more breaths here. Now, whether your hands are out front or underneath your hips, bring them back to center so they're directly below your eyes. And then go ahead and come up onto your fingertips so that you can press yourself so that you're in a halfway lift, so the back's nice and long. Firm your belly or draw the belly in, and then keep the torso long as you bring your hands back to the inside hip crease. Press through the soles of your feet. Lift the kneecaps if the knees aren't bent, and then take an inhale, flat back as you come all the way up. Beautiful. Release the hands. And then go ahead and shimmy the feet back in towards each other. Come back to face into center of the room. back into your Tadasana, your mountain pose. We're coming into tree pose. So if you guys want to stagger so that you've got room, you're more than welcome to. So beginning from our mountain pose, from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head, lengthening and aligning. The way that we're going to align the mind to prepare for tree pose is to find a drishti or a point of focus. So this might be on the floor, or it might be straight ahead if your gaze is lifted. And keeping your alignment in mountain pose, bring your hands together, press your thumbs against your chest. Shift the weight into the right foot. And bring your left foot to either little kickstand at the ankle, or you can bring it to the inner calf or up into the inner thigh. If you are bringing the foot to the inner thigh, go ahead and grab the ankle, bring it up to the inner thigh, and then press the sole of the foot and the thigh together as if you do when you're pressing the palms of your hands together. So we want to try and keep the hip bones nice and even here. So see if you can have a little play around. You can even place your hands on your hip bones to try it out if you like. Quite often we tend to drop the hip of the bent knee, so we just want to keep that lifted, and we want to press the left knee open, so it's a little bit of a hip opener. If you would like to add in the arms, you can do so whenever you're ready. Mindfully bringing the hands back to center and releasing the foot down. Back into your mountain pose. Align the body. Align the mind by finding your focus point. Bring the hands together. Shift the weight into left foot. Right foot into tree pose. Once again, see if you can even the hip bones. Keep the tailbone lengthening down. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears. And whenever you're ready, if you would like to, you could lift the arms up overhead. If you do have the arms up overhead, we're going to slide the shoulders down the back. You can keep the palms open, or you can bring the palms together with bent elbows. You do whatever feels best. Easy breath in and out. Gently bring hands to center. Bring the foot down. And come back into your mountain pose. Feel free to roll the shoulders, shake out the legs. And then however you would like to get there, bring yourself back down onto the mat. Come down onto your back and hug the knees into the chest. Take a little roll from side to side. So to finish up, we're going to come into a spinal twist and then finish in Shavasana. So you have different options for your twist depending on how you want it to feel through the torso especially. You could, if you like, have the feet down on the floor and then just let the knees drop down to the right. You could keep the knees hugging in and lifted and then let them drop over to the right. Or if you would like a more intense twist, you could leave the left knee hugging in towards the chest, extend the right leg nice and long, and then draw the left knee over towards the right. So everybody's different. You're allowed to change your mind. Find something that feels comfortable for the arms, for the arm that's free, I should say. You might turn your gaze to look in the opposite direction of where your knees are. And you might even place a pillow or a block underneath the knees if you feel like you need some support. So physically we're in our spinal twist, and to involve and align the mind, I invite you to scan the body and notice how the breath feels when your body is in this shape. Take a slow roll back to center. Feel free to hug the knees in between, and then do the same on the other side. So you can have feet on the floor, knees drop. You can have the knees into your chest, or you can extend the opposite leg this time and draw the opposite knee over to the other side. If you do have one leg extended and one knee drawn over, sometimes tucking under the bottom hip can just feel like it gives you a little bit more range of movement. Gently let yourself drift back to center. Feel free to give the knees one last little hug. And then bring yourself into Shavasana. If you have a sensitive back to help with your body's alignment, you could keep the knees bent. Otherwise, legs are straight, feet are about the width of the mat, and we just let the toes hang out. You might lift the chest and flatten the shoulder blades against the floor. Let the shoulders melt down as the chest opens. Lengthen the back of the neck, tuck the chin. Consciously relax the muscles of the face. Begin to deepen your breath. As you deepen the inhale and draw the breath into the belly, feel your awareness drift inward once again to the physical body. Beginning to slowly twinkle the fingers and the toes, maybe rotate the wrists and the ankle. Reaching the arms up overhead, drawing the legs together for a big stretch. And bending the knees and slowly turning yourself over to your side. And pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat. Sitting nice and tall, helping yourself to sit tall by sitting on a cushion or a block if you need to. Letting the weight sink back into the sit bones so that the spine can grow really nice and tall. Close the eyes and roll the shoulders down. Lengthen the back of the neck. Spending a few moments just sitting quietly. As you inhale, letting your awareness travel up the spine. As you exhale, traveling back down. Your body feeling aligned and long. And your mind feeling aligned through observation and awareness. Go ahead and bring your palms together. Lightly press your thumbs against your chest and bring your chin down to your chest. Give yourself a smile for your practice today. Bringing your thumbs to your forehead. Namaste. Thank you, guys.